Hey everyone, welcome to the live webinar on SkyTC today. We're going to get started in just a couple minutes. Thanks so much everyone for joining right on time. We have a couple people still joining in, so we'll get started in about 1 minute or so. If you're already on, if you wouldn't mind using that chat or the comments in StreamYard, let us know where you're coming from, and if you're an individual agent or if you're on a team, we'd love to get some comments going in there ahead of the session. Awesome. We've got people coming from all over. We've got Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Houston. We've got some Canada folks here. Thanks for joining in. Florida. Both myself and Jay, who will be hosting the presentation, are based in Northern California. So we've got basically all sides of the US and Canada here with the locations coming in. Nice. Got some more Canada, North Carolina, Colorado. Awesome. Well, again, thanks everyone for joining in. Keep throwing in the chat where you're coming in from. We're really excited to go through SkyTC today and the offering that you have through eXp Solutions. Just a couple housekeeping items, and I'm going to pass it straight over to Jay. Keep questions coming in that comment section as well. And then at the very end of the session, we'll kind of go through some of those questions live. And then the whole session is being recorded, so the replay is going to be available on the eXp Solutions YouTube channel. So if you miss anything, don't worry, there will be a recap for you. But let's just jump into it. So my name is Taylor Grossman. I am the head of customer strategy at SkySlope. I have been with the company for about 9 years now and working with eXp for majority of those years. And so it's been really exciting to see eXp grow across the whole US and Canada throughout this partnership, and introducing SkyTC as one of the offerings to all of eXp agents has been phenomenal in terms of agent feedback and just streamlining workflows that really help you be a better and more efficient agent. So I have Jay on the line as well. Jay has been with SkySlope just about as long as I have, and she oversees our SkyTC team as well. So I'm going to pass it to her to kind of kick things off and really give the full overview of what SkyTC has to offer for you all as eXp agents, whether you're a solo agent or on a team. So Jay, I'll pass it to you.
Great. Thank you again, everyone, for having me here. I'm going to go through this presentation. Feel free to drop questions in the comment section, and then we'll answer all the questions at the end as well. I'll try to be as thorough as possible. So with SkyTC, as you know, SkySlope, it's a transaction management platform. We have our own signing product called DigiSign. We have our own forms product, depending on what province and states that you're in. And we also have a department called SkyTC. So SkyTC focuses on transaction coordinating, right? So where we started, we actually started, I want to say our inception was 2015, 2016, and we started only in California, beta testing our services with a brokerage here. Fast forward to where we are today, we've expanded to a lot of the US. We work with hundreds of eXp agents, and we've also in the last year expanded into Canada as well. We found that agents who utilize SkyTC close 1 to 2 more files a month, simply because it frees up a lot of their time, because we're hyper focusing on the back end work while the agent focuses on working with their clientele and building their book of business. Now, when you opt in for SkyTC, you will be working with a dedicated transaction coordinator. So what that means is whenever you opt in, you'll get paired up with one TC, and then before we even start working on your files, we'll actually do a preference call. In this preference call, we're going through the nitty-gritty details, right? We're trying to understand your book of business, your communication style, preferred vendors that you like working with, the types of transactions that you're doing. That way, when we start working on your files, we hit the floor running. And then the great thing about SkyTC is that you pay as you close. What we actually do here, since multiple states and multiple provinces either work with title companies or escrows or attorneys, we actually store a credit card on file per agent. So whenever you do close a transaction with us, that's the card that we're going to be charging. This is to avoid any large invoices agents may have or lost checks in the mail. And one thing that I'd like to emphasize is that you only pay as you close. So if your transaction cancels for whatever reason, we won't charge you for the work that we've already completed. So we only get paid if you get paid. Now, excuse me, attached here is a list of services that your TC will be performing for you on a daily basis. So let's pretend for a moment that I am your dedicated transaction coordinator. So whenever you get a ratified listing in or a ratified purchase contract, what you would do is simply email it to me, and I would then create the shell for you in SkySlope, upload the documents, input the contact information, and at your request, I can also do disclosure preparation for you as well. Once this listing goes pending or you're starting out with a purchase contract, that's when the work actually starts. So we're sending out introductory emails to all parties involved. So your client, the cooperating agent, title or escrow, maybe even the attorney, depending on what state that you're in, and sometimes even the lender, letting them know that I am the transaction coordinator for this file and to copy me in all correspondence. This isn't to ensure that nothing falls through the cracks and we're getting all the documents that's needed for compliance. Once we introduce ourselves, we're sending out calendar reminders to all parties involved. So we will have a timeline of all the important milestones of the contract, and we're sending that to all parties so everyone is aligned on what to do and what's not. From there, we'll send things out for signature, request reports, order your home inspections, your home warranties, and we're also ordering your home inspections as well. And then on the sheet here, I know it says we're performing 5 pre-close updates, 7 days, 5 days, 3 days prior to the close of escrow. But in reality, our transaction coordinators are actually in your files every few days to ensure that every item is due on time and that they're in your SkySlope account on the day that it's due and ready for audit. The only thing we're not doing for our agents is any licensed activity. So we're not negotiating or advising on your behalf, and we're not doing any data entry into the MLS. Our whole goal and our focus here at SkyTC is to take care of pending transactions to ensure that you guys are compliant and that you guys get paid on time as well. I'll give you guys a moment to look over this list, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, but then we can also address them at the end as well. Now, attached here is us bulletproofing your business. So in addition to the list of services that we provide for you guys, we also work on 100% transparency in all of your files. So just to give you guys a little bit of background, our TCs, they all go through a rigorous boot camp that lasts about 6 to 8 weeks long before they start working with agents, right? Once they graduate from that boot camp, they start building their own book of business. And then we also like to train them on compliance and transparency, not only for SkyTC, but for SkySlope as well. So SkyTC does have a proprietary app that lays on top of our software. So it allows TCs backdoor access to your account, and it also leaves timestamps on whenever we're doing work for you and your files. So with a 100% transparency, I train the TCs to leave transparency notes in all of your files in SkySlope. So what that means is if I am sending Taylor an addendum using DigiSign, I'm going to leave that exact note on the addendum section of the checklist. So that way, it'll also put a timestamp in your data log that, hey, I'm the one either uploading documents, changing information, or changing information about commission. That way, you're never second guessing the work that we're doing for you guys. This eliminates the broker or the auditor chasing down agents for missing paperwork. And our goal here is to really make your auditor happy, right? Because whenever SkyTC is uploading documents into your files, we're really making sure that they're fully executed, the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. because when you have a happy auditor, you have happy agents. And when you have happy agents, you're producing agents. If you add all of this up together, it's really to ensure a bulletproof file that meets all of the broker compliance standards, as well as the state or province that you're in as well. Now, with SkyTC, if you are ready to opt in for our services, it is easy as plug and play. We will be gathering your contact information, and we will leave our call to action and our email here. So if you are interested in utilizing SkyTC as a part of your business, we'll, one of our team members will be able to reach out to you and go over our list of services more in depth. And then we can also go over pricing with you guys. So I know pricing is a big deal for you guys and what the cost is. It varies upon the state or the province that you're in. A ballpark would be around $350 to $450, depending on where you're at. But that's something our sales associates will be going over with you guys. And just to reiterate, this is pay as you close. So if you don't close anything, we don't charge you for the work that we've already completed.
Jay, I want to chime in here with a question that came in the chat. Two questions, actually. So first one is, are the TCs US based? And yes, Chris, that's a great question. All of our transaction coordinators from SkyTC are based in the US, and they're based in different areas of the US. And we do that intentionally so that we cover all the different time zones. And Jay, in the very beginning, mentioned that there's really a preference call that happens right up front. And that preference call not only allows SkyTC to learn how you like to communicate, what you like to the communications to be or not be with the actual clients that you're working with and sending documents for signature and whatnot. But it also ensures that they meet you where you're at from a timeline perspective, early in the morning or later in the day across the US. So that was a really good question there. There's another question following up to that is, do you offer service in both New Jersey and Pennsylvania? And the answer is yes to that one as well. We do have TCs who operate in both of those states. And another great call out, Jay had mentioned in the beginning, is that our TCs go through this full boot camp. So they're fully trained state by state, if they're operating in those states, on the practices to make all real estate practices to make sure they're not offering just an extra hand for you, but they're really making sure that you two partner together, have your own bulletproof business with the TC and agent partnership.
I see a question here. Are the TCs for listing agents and buyer agents both? So we do work with both listing agents and buyer agents. Jackie, let's say, for example, I'm working with you. We do listings for you at no additional charge. Once this listing goes pending, that's when the work actually starts for you, and then we charge if that transaction closes. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. There's another question here. Is there a time commitment I must make? Jay, do you want to speak to that one?
There is no time commitment. Ideally, in a perfect world, we would love to work all of your files that you give us. But we understand that sometimes, hey, you're helping a family member, or maybe the commission is not as big. You do have the option to opt out of certain transactions if you need to.
Yeah. And then another one here from Josie, we have, can agents reach out to TCs at any time via phone? Yes. And that's something that I would say I personally love about our SkyTCs. They are available by phone, email, and their response times are incredible. So with how many files that they work and how many agents they work with, they're unparalleled to other TCs that I've seen in the past. So yes, they're available via phone at any time.
100%. And just to piggyback off of that, that's why that process call that you have with your TC is so important, because we do go over those types of details, because we do have agents who are more privy to texting versus answering their phone because they're always out and about, or we have agents who prefer email because they want all of that data logged. So it's all preference based as well. Andres asked, do we have Spanish speaking TCs? Yes, we do have some on staff who will be able to assist you with your clientele. Depending on where you're at, sometimes they won't always speak Spanish, but we do have resources on our team to be able to assist with any translations if you have to.
And that's also, again, another thing that's perfect for that preference call, even just getting on the call. So if you scan the QR code and reach out to SkyTC today, tomorrow, we pair you with that right TC to, again, make sure that your clients and you are best supported based on where you're at, which looks like Miami, Florida. Hopefully it's sunny and nice there right now.
Right. Gary asked, is there a backup TC if your TC is out sick? That is a great question and something that we do pride ourselves in. So Gary, again, I like to play pretend. Let's say I am your dedicated transaction coordinator and I am out sick or I go on maternity leave. We do have a coverage team in place for an event that I am out sick or happen to go on vacation. Nothing will change on the agent's end. All the correspondence will still go through the TC that you're supposed to be working with. And we do have a coverage team in place to make sure that your paperwork is always moving forward and it's never at a standstill. And then Josie asked, you do listings but don't enter info into the MLS? That is correct. The reason being is because we don't want to input anything wrong or incorrectly, not that we would, into the MLS, and we wouldn't want our agents to get fined for that. So that MLS is something that we just won't do.
Another question that's Canada specific, and I know that this one is a newer expansion into Canada as of last year. Jay, are you able to answer this? Or this is something maybe we follow up on? Do you assist with FinTrack compliance in Canada?
Gary, can you specify what province you're in? Maybe Alberta. So yeah, we do work with Alberta agents. What we do is if we have questions regarding the conveyance process, we do reach out to is that what it's called, conveyancer for EXP to understand what the form is or what's the timeline for these specific documents as well, to ensure that you guys are, in compliance for your paperwork and that you're getting paid on time as well.
And just some clarification here. So we know FinTrack is across the board at Canada. Perhaps we can follow up with some more information on these of just specific workflows and what you would be looking for the SkyTC assistance on in terms of that FinTrack compliance workflow, as we have with US for a while. Not FinTrack, but different processes that are similar. And then there's one more question here. The recording will be available for viewing later. It will be available on the eXp Solutions YouTube channel.
So, Chris, that's a great question. He asked, for document signing, I prefer to use AuthentiSign rather than SkySlope Forms and DigiSign. How would that affect the SkyTC process? It does not. So it goes back to us chiming in on that process call that you have, right? We understand that agents have preferred signing platforms that they like to use, or preferred communication. Just simply let your TC know that, hey, I have an AuthentiSign, I'd rather use this, and we oblige by what you want, right? We store all your information in a vault so that your information is never compromised as well.
Cool. There's been some great questions coming in. Keep them coming if you have them. If not, what you can always do is, again, email that email on the screen, scan the QR code, enter information. What we'll do is we will reach out to you right after this, or first thing after the webinar is over, to book a call and get going on kind of just any additional questions that you have on SkyTC. And if you want to move forward, then what that preference call actually looks like. Looks like there's one more question in here. Do TCs have special knowledge, i.e. probate? Yes, so the TCs do have that special knowledge. That's a part of the state-by-state specific training that they go through, or the boot camp that they go through on the different types of transactions, in addition to the actual state specifics in the boot camp.
And just to piggyback off that, we do have experience in probate, commercial, vacant land, multiple homes. So if those are the types of businesses that you do, that's why it's so important to let your TC know, and let the sales associate know, like, hey, I specialize in this. That way we can pair you up with someone who can help you out. And then David, you asked, what is the fee? Our fees are contingent upon based on the state that you're in or the province that you're in. So it starts at $350 and goes as high as $450. But when you do opt in and you want to learn more about our services, our sales associate will be reaching out to you, and they will be going over pricing based on the area that you're at. Josie, great question. If a TC notices that a BBA doesn't match the comp agreement, do they make changes and send for initials to buyer? Yes, they do. So, but we always ask our agent first, right? So when it comes to purchase contracts, listing agreements, addendums, any corrections, anything that timelines or alters the timeline of a contract, we can draft those items up for you or send them out for correction if you provide us with verbiage. We'll draft it up for you. Once it's drafted up, we'll send it to our agent first for review. And then upon your approval, that's when we'll send it out to the appropriate parties for signature or correction.
Again, lots of good questions coming through the chat. While we're waiting on any more, Jay, is there anything else maybe that you touched on earlier or that you maybe haven't touched on that you just think is phenomenal about SkyTC that's a value add for the agents that you want to share?
We just touched on the drafting of listing agreements and purchase contracts. The coverage, if you are working, let's say you are a team lead and you want your agents to opt in for SkyTC, what we'll also do is we'll pair you up with 1 to 2 transaction coordinators based on the how many agents are on your team, and then we'll work with the team lead first to understand preferences and team dynamic, and then we'll train the TCs on those set preferences when we start working with your agents.
Another question here that came in from Mike. Does SkySlope or SkyTC offer a drive for buyer agents to access disclosures reports? So there's not a portal of per se of documents that you that your client can log into, but there is SkyTC packages up all of the documents that happen throughout the course of the transaction and do provide those to you and the client that you're working with, whether it's a seller or a buyer. So they have everything that they need at the end of the transaction.
Patricia, as a newer agent, I sometimes have questions on which form is best. Is there recommendations from the TC in this specific area? So Patricia, that's a great question. We understand that some agents are newer, right? We base what is required for your documents based on the checklist that is on EXP. If you do have a question regarding the forms, we do bounce it back to the MLS and see like, hey, is this updated or whatnot? And we'll also reach out to the auditor as well if we have any questions about specific forms that are outdated or which is better use for us to use for certain transactions.
And yeah, that's something, Patricia, just to kind of add on to what Jay said is EXP makes sure that those checklists that you may see in SkySlope right now are always accurate so that it's making sure that both you and EXP are fully compliant as an agent, whether you're newer or a seasoned agent. So that's the kind of checklist of documentation that SkyTC makes sure that you are you get an A+ in for getting everything submitted to those checklists.
Are there any discounts offered if you closed? Wow, Josie, that's a great question. Congrats to you for closing 26 transactions in a month. Is there special discounts that we offer? At this time, no, but what we can offer you is 50% off your first file with us, just so you get to see what the service is like at a discounted price. So I hope that's good for you. But yeah, that's amazing. 26 transactions in a month. That's amazing. Oh, and one thing I do want to add in regards to hours of operation. So our TCs are Monday through Friday, depending on the area that they're in, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. If there is something that comes in after business hours or over the weekend, because we understand, agents are showing things over the weekend, that's your busiest time. We do prioritize those the following business day. So if something were to come in over, like you needed a signature done or you need to send out a packet, we ask the agent to do that while we're over the weekend and copy your transaction coordinator, and we can easily pick up where you left off the following business day. So nothing really does fall through the cracks. We just want to keep that transparent. So, agents, I know that's your busiest time, but we're here to help you as well the following business day.
Well, I know we have about 5 minutes left. It looks like the questions are primarily wrapping up. So I just want to take a moment and say thank you, everyone, so much for joining in. If you have more questions or we wrap up this webinar and you remember something that you forgot to ask, just reach out to us. Again, skytcsales@skyslope.com, or just scan that QR code. We can jump on a call, answer any questions that you have, or specifics for your workflow that you think, can the TC do this? It's a little bit different than how other people do it. Just let us know. We'll jump on a call, do another kind of conversation like this, and then we can talk about what next steps look like if you go that direction. But for now, thanks so much, everyone, for joining in again. I hope your rest of your Thursday afternoon goes well, and it was great to have you all in here.